Point of View is sponsored by First National Bank. First National Bank. How can we help you?
Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show on television. Here on The Point of View, we get the right guests. We ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you. It's an interactive show. We're live tonight. And of course, there's a big story. President has released his list of deputy ministers. We'll tell you who they are and show you who's the new face, which are the repeated ones, and who lost out. Of course, this program is brought to you by First National Bank. First National Bank, how can we help you? Welcome back to The Point of View. So tonight we continue what we started on Monday, showing you our predictions. Now it's clear. We gave you some names of people we expected to be nominated as deputy minister, and I'm very happy to report that the gentlemen who came into the studio were spot on. Every name they mentioned found its way onto the list. We'll go through that list again, and then we'll speak to some of the nominees on their initial thoughts after being nominated. I have in studio my parliamentary correspondent, Duke Mensah-Opoku. Duke, good evening.
Good evening. Good to be here once again.
Great to have you as well. And Sami Riafi, who's my Jubilee House correspondent. Sami, good to have you again.
Thank you very much, brother.
So, last couple of days, you gave me a list of names. All of them found their way into the final list.
Yeah.
Yet you were pretending as if you were not sure.
Those ones were not truly confirmed, so you have to wait to get the true confirmation for some of them. But the ones we spoke about, those were the ones which were really, really confirmed from our sources at the Jubilee House.
Amazing. So the list has how many names?
39 names. The 39 is made up of 10 women. We also have 30 new entrants, and we also have 9 existing deputy ministers who retain their various positions.
So 39 39 new deputy ministers.
Yes.
Comprising
10 women. 29 men.
29 men.
30 new entrants, and then 9 existing deputy ministers.
30 new entrants and 9 existing. Yeah. Wow. So there's a lot of fresh faces in there. In there. How many of them are MPs? How many of them are non-MPs?
So the MPs are 34.
34 members of parliament.
Yes.
Wow.
5 of them are non-MPs.
So the president stuck to the constitution.
Yes.
34 members of parliament, 5 non-MPs, 30 new entrants, 9 existing deputy, 29 men, 10 women. Duke, 34 MPs, 5 non-MPs. Yeah. What does that mean for parliament?
It means that, I mean, from a very critical point of view, I think it's going to, the age-old argument that if they are not able to strike a fine balance between their work as deputy ministers and
in parliament.
Yes, and already some of the promising parliament, like they wanted to go on a tangent as career parliamentarians have already been taken away. So take someone, for instance, like John Kumah. John Kumah was vice chairman of the very, very powerful Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. Now he's been plucked away from Parliament to be made a Deputy Minister for Finance. It means that Parliament has to find a replacement for him on that committee. So that age-old debate comes up.
But in terms of the substantive ministers, majority are also from Parliament.
Of course, yes. With the constitutional injunction that you must have more than 50% of your appointments.
So only 5 deputy ministers are non-MPs?
Yeah.
Do you know them off the top of your head?
Yes. So Eduboy Charles.
Charles Eduboy,
so you take him out. Yes. Then the 2 deputy AGs, they are all not from Parliament.
Okay.
Afretian Eboa and Asnaba Dapa, they are not from Parliament. Then we have Herbert Krapper. It's not from Parliament. You also have Fati, who's not from
Fati, who
Parliament.
we are speaking to tonight.
Yes, and then Marco Krekumante is also not from Parliament.
The rest are all MPs.
Or the rest are all MPs.
Amazing. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to give you a quick report, an overview of who these people are. I have Fati joining me. I have John Kuma joining me. I have Ocherebefi joining me. I have Asan Tampoli joining me. We're going to talk to them, find out their expectations. But here's a quick report I think Sami put together on who and who is on the list.
List of nominees not from Parliament are persons with diverse backgrounds. Former Deputy Minister of Finance, Charles Kofi Addo has been reappointed to the same ministry, but this time round as a Minister of State at the Finance Ministry. The Harvard-trained chemical engineer turned investment banker is the son of the 1992 MPP presidential candidate Professor Albert Addo. Before his appointment, he ran asset management firm Black Star Advisory and worked previously for global giant J.P. Morgan Chase. He is a product of the Achimota School. Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry nominee Herbert Krapper is a lawyer. He holds an LLM degree from the prestigious London School of Economics and Political Science. In the first term of the Akufo-Addo administration, he served as the government spokesperson on governance and legal affairs. He previously served as a press secretary to then-candidate Akufo-Addo until 2014. He is a lecturer at the University of Ghana Law School. Deputy Attorney General nominee Alfred Tuah-Yeboah, until his appointment, served as the president of the Bono Regional Bar. He holds an MSc in Defense and Politics from the Armed Forces Staff and Command College. He has served at the bar for almost 2 years. The Attorney General nominee is Dinah Dapa. Dinah is a lawyer and a lecturer at the Gimpa Law School. Deputy Minister for Tourism and Culture nominee Mark Okrekumante has been in charge of the Creative Arts Council since its inception in 2017. He is the owner of Slip Music Production, a record label that gave the music world the likes of Lord Kenya and Dasibre Jamna. He previously worked as a DJ in his earlier career. Deputy Minister for Information nominee Fatima Abubakar is a lawyer and a former Deputy Director of Communications at the Presidency. She is a product of the Kumasi Academy and the University of Ghana. She was one of the spokespersons for the President in the election petition. There are 33 nominees who are members of Parliament. They include MP for Edgeso, Dr. John Kuma. The 42-year-old lawyer ran the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program before he won his seat in Parliament. He's heading to the Ministry of Finance as a deputy minister.
The most important thing is to be part of the governance structure, the legislative wing of government. And obviously, every Ghanaian or every young politician in Ghana, if you want to have a long-term strategy for politics in Ghana, you are always better off being in Parliament.
He's expected to work alongside MP for Etiwa East, Abena Ose Asari, who retained her position as a Deputy Minister for Finance.
Even when I was in the university, I was supporting some of my friends way back then. So when I finished university, I set up this foundation, Waterbrook Foundation, where we were supporting needy but brilliant students who, for one reason or the other, couldn't support themselves. And that was how it all began. And I was also active in the politics at the local level. Mm-hmm. I was the women organizer for my polling station.
Okay.
And then I also was part of the finance committee at the constituency level. So through that, I got to interact with the political people mm-hmm. down at that level. And in 2010, unfortunately, in 2010, we lost our NP. And my people impressed upon me to come into the race.
There are 2 MPs at the Trade and Industry Ministry. Michael Ocherebefi, MP for New Jabin South, is former Executive Director of the Free Zones Authority. The insurance professional will work alongside MP for Ekuapem North, Nana Addo Esiama Eje, who was formerly the Deputy Minister for Information. At the local government ministry, all 3 deputies are MPs. MP for Ekuapem South and lawyer O.B. Amwa retain his position at the ministry together with offensive MP. The new face at the ministry is former Director of Elections for the MPP and MP for disputed Techima South constituency, Martin J. Mensah Kosa. He reunites with his former boss, Damboche, at the local government ministry. The two deputy ministers for foreign affairs are also MPs. MP for Mampo in the Ashanti region, Kweku Amprechum Sapon, makes a transition from being vice chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee to a deputy minister. He's a two-term MP who served as a Deputy High Commissioner to India under the John Ajekum Kufuor administration. Thomas Imbomba currently represents the Tatale constituency in Parliament. The former DCE and Ghana Post officer is in his first term as Member of Parliament. He heads to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to serve as a Deputy Minister. At the Ministry of Food and Agric, the two deputies are MP for Manso Edubia, Frimpong Addo, and MP for Nanton, Mohamed Hadi Toferi. Frimpong Addo served as chairman of the Environment and Science Committee of Parliament. Hadi Toferi has twice won a seat not viewed traditionally as an MPP seat. He is a former deputy ranking member on the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament and former lecturer at the Tamale Technical University. At the Education Ministry, MP for Ibuakwa North, Gifty Chum Ampofo, retains her seat. She is joined by 34-year-old MP for Ascent South, Reverend John Intim Fojo. The mining engineer and economic policy management graduate is a PhD candidate at the University of Ghana.
So that was Sami Riafi's report. Let's know what you think. Which of the names excites you the most? Which of them are you surprised about? And what does this reveal about the president's agenda for the next 4 years? It's a live show. Send us your comments on WhatsApp. The WhatsApp number will be on the screen shortly. Let's know what you think about the list as well. And also let's hear from you concerning whose absence disappoints you, because there are some casualties as well. Some names did not show up. So let me swing over and speak to some of the people who've been nominated. Let me start with Fati Abubakar. I think a lot of people are excited about her rise. And you said to me that she was initially an aide to the...
A campaign aide.
Aide, rose through the ranks, she became a lawyer, and is now one of the people people are excited about. Yeah. So, good evening, Honorable Fati, and thanks for joining us. Okay, we are happy to join you, although the screen is a bit frozen. We'll refresh it and come back to you.
Thank you, Bernard.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us. I also have Hassan Tampuli on the show. Hassan, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Great to have you. And I have John Kuma as well. John, great to have you. Good evening.
Good evening, Bernard.
Fantastic. We'll be joined by Ochebefi shortly. Fatih, congratulations. A lot of people say they are excited about your nomination. How does that make you feel? Fatih, did you hear my question? So I think Fatih is having some challenge hearing my question, so I'll come back to her shortly. Honorable Hassan Tampuli, congratulations are in order. I mean, some people are wondering, from NPA boss to deputy minister, is that not a demotion?
Thank you very much. Good evening to you, Bernard, and then your panelists and your listeners and viewers as well. Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to express my profound gratitude to His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo, for finding me worthy of being considered as a Deputy Minister for the Ministry of Transport. I also want to congratulate my colleagues who have also been nominated for various positions. So back to your question, you say you consider it as a demotion?
No, some people, not I, I'm just saying, some people say NPA is a big post with a big budget. Deputy Transport Minister, they don't see it as that big. So that's the question. No, it's not my view, it's other people's view.
Okay, very well. I think that maybe it's a matter of, where you stand. You either see it as the cup is half full or half empty. Be that as may, I think that it's a call to duty. I've served my time at the National Petroleum Authority, and I believe posterity will be the best judge of my legacy there. It's time to move on and take up other responsibilities. Mr. President is a coach, and he, at any point in time will decide who goes where. And then I think that the president is the wiser, and there's no doubt about the fact that at MPA, I was, head of the agency, but I reported to the Deputy Minister for Energy responsible for petroleum before heading to the minister himself. So if being considered as a Deputy Minister, I find that as an elevation. And I'm very, very grateful to Mr. President for that. It's a movement that, one would very much appreciate, especially if you have regard to those people who have walked the path that we have found ourselves before. Sometime 28th of February 2001, the Venerable President John Ajay Kufuor announced the nomination of deputy ministers. And I believe that the excitement was just as it was today. And if you look at the list at the time of the personalities who were appointed as deputy ministers, then you find that we have a very onerous responsibility to measure up to, the standards that they set at the time. The likes of Captain Garba Fadate, Papa Owusu Ankoma, Mrs. Grace Coleman, Honorable Edi Akita, my former MP, the late Honorable Alhaji Mustafa Ali Idris, Honorable Yaberima, Honorable Ajia Lima Muhammad, and so on and so forth. So all these personalities were one time deputy ministers. And I believe that, the legacy that they set is one that we have to emulate and try as possible to assist our various ministers in order to leave a better legacy than they did before.
We are told the president met all of you collectively and also individually. Are you at liberty to tell us what he told you as he announced the nomination to you?
Well, I think the president did what is right in meeting each one of us to mention to you the area that he wants you to go to. And in doing so, he would, congratulate you and more or less let you know. In the past, we have heard before that some people will be working somewhere and then they just hear their names on radio that they have appointed somewhere and they express surprises and all of that. I think that in view of those antecedents, it's proper that Mr. President will call each one of us and let you know that this is where you are going to when the list is finally released. Okay. And probably even just mention some of the responsibilities that he thinks that your minister will be assigning to you in the fullness of time.
Wow. 2 quick questions before you go. You were MPA, so some would have expected energy as the logical progression, because we know you started as national service, MPA, so they would have expected energy, but it's transport. What are your thoughts about that?
Like I said before, I think that Mr. President, has the mechanism that to evaluate all of us. So the monitoring and evaluation team does a lot of work on all of us, and they're able to inform him about our strengths, weaknesses, and so on and so forth. So I believe that the decision to take me to the Ministry of Transport was one that was very well thought out. And I believe very strongly that there is a lot that I can offer to the minister and the president and the government as a whole. There are about 2 various parts at the Ministry of Transport, if you may. You have the inland transports and then the marine transports. All right. Now, with the combination of the Ministry of Aviation to the Ministry of Transport, you have agencies such as the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Ghana Airports Company, Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, Ghana Road Safety Authority, Intercity STC, and I believe Metro Mass Transit. There is another technical school also coming under inland transport. Then you have the marine. You have Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. You have Ghana Maritime Authority, Ghana Shippers Authority, Tema Dry Dock.
You've really done your homework well. you have really prepared for the job.
Regional Maritime University, and you have Water Lake Transport Company Limited. So all of these agencies come under the marine side of the Ministry of Transport. Yeah.
Congratulations. I know you are fasting, so I won't waste too much of your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much.
Congratulations. We'll talk to you again soon. This is still the point of view. We're trying to analyze the list. I will be joined by other people. I have John Kuma, Fatih, and co. I just wanted to ask my guys in here, who surprised you in terms of which of the names was most surprising in terms of coming on?
For me, I would the two deputy AGs.
Deputy AGs?
Yes, surprising. I followed the rise of Lawyer Tuyan from Sunyani, but for him to have been named deputy AG at this time, after his unsuccessful attempt to get into parliament, at this point in time, he's a young, I think he's under 40s, very young.
He's the chairman
of the Regional Bar Association. And before that, he was deputy regional secretary of the MPP in the region. But for him to have been appointed at this, not to doubt his competence or anything, but in the scheme of things, in the MPP in the Bruno region, for him to have been, yes, and then the other deputy attorney general, we are told, of course, has strong links to MPP through the father who was on the Council of State, Benjamin Asunabadapa. And she's coming in here with very strong credentials.
So for the first time, we have AG department. They are all not.
There's
MPs.
Nobody from parliament there.
But actually, Gloria Kufu wasn't in parliament as well.
Yes, but there was Joseph Kwemka,
who was an MP.
So all three.
Who was more or less like the liaison here. His office was actually in parliament to be able to do those things. But this time around, at the attorney general.
So that shocked you. What about you?
Herbert Krapper.
Herbert Krapper shocked you. Why?
I've known Herbert for a number of years. Formerly press secretary to Nana Addo. We all thought he was going to still be in the communications, industry. When power came, there were rumors that he was going to be director of communications. That didn't happen. He had to go to school, come back and work with Gabi. And where he is now, working with Gabi at the African law firm, we all thought that he's okay there. Why do you want to be a minister? So when I saw his name...
And he's under trade.
And he's under trade now.
Herbert Krapper shocked you. Okay, let me talk to John Kuma. I have Fatih still on the lines. Okay, let me try John Kuma first, just to... so, John Kuma, good to have you. Congrats and good evening.
Thank you very much.
Well, I was surprised at yours because they said they were not surprised. I thought you were going to go to something like trade or employment because you were with NEIP. So this was completely a bolt out of the blue for me. I mean, what did the president tell you? Why is he putting you in the finance ministry?
Well, I must say that I want to thank His Excellency the President for this opportunity to serve. To be honest with you, I was equally surprised when I got nominated to be the Deputy Minister to serve in the Finance Ministry because, like you said, it was not part of my expectation. And this is where I want to thank the President for this huge confidence he has reposed in me. It's not because I don't have the background, but I thought that it would be a difficult choice to make. So I am thankful to His Excellency the President. He, in fact, told me that he was impressed with the work I did with the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program. And he also knows my background, and I could do better in the new role that he's offering me in the finance ministry. And so,
have you been told whether you are under budget, revenue, or capital markets? Because we know those are the three main divisions of the ministry. Have you been given that much detail?
Not yet.
Okay.
We have not been assigned specific roles yet.
I know you did some accounts at Legon, and then you are known as Lawyer John Kuma, so your law side comes a bit strongly. So how sure are you that I'm coming? How sure are you that
to win trophies for Legon Hall?
I know. How sure are you?
Economics trophies for Legon Hall.
Yes, but that was quite a while back. So how confident are you that you can cope with because we know that Charles Edubwan is now the Minister of State. Abena Osei-Asare was in charge of budget, and Kweku Kwatin was in charge of revenue and is now in finance committee. So it stands to reason that you are either going to do revenue or capital. Minister of State is still there. We can surmise that you are going to the revenue side. I mean, how sure are you that you can cope with the rigors of finance ministry and all the complexities?
That is not difficult at all. And I'm happy you talked about my economics background. Beyond that, I've also done MBA in finance. before I started law. So finance is something that I'm very comfortable with, and I'll be able to handle any task that will be assigned to me. And once you're a lawyer, one thing that you must know is that we call ourselves learned. A lawyer can undertake any task and do it perfectly as if he's been professionally trained. So for me, nothing is beyond execution. I believe that I'll be able to work to achieve the vision of His President, of His Excellency the President, by supporting the Honorable Minister of Finance, Honorable Ken Oforiatta, and the wonderful team that they have at the Ministry of Finance. I strongly believe that with my unique background, I will have a special contribution to make at the Finance Ministry.
That may mean that your work in Parliament may be curtailed, because apart from being MP for Ejisu, which is a relatively large constituency, we understand you were supposed to be playing a role in one of the key committees in Parliament. But now that this has happened, should we expect a parliamentary reshuffle in terms of leadership?
Well, that is always subject to the leadership of Parliament. They can always reassign your role. If you are a vice chairman, for instance, which I am at the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, I believe they may assign a different person to be a vice chairman, but I'll continue to be a member. There are several substantive ministers who are members of various committees, so that shouldn't be a problem at all.
I've known you from Legon, and I know you lost a lot of elections before you eventually won Ejisu. You lost SRC elections, you lost Nooks to Omanibuama, you lost all kinds of elections. I think the only election you won was the Ejisu. So, I think you can become a motivator.
Don't forget, I want the students' rep on Get Fund.
That one, if you struggle to win it.
No, that was when we were on campus, so don't forget that one.
My comment is, you can become a motivational speaker too and tell people that you can lose elections and still become a deputy finance minister. I really wish you well. Have you spoken to the finance minister, and how excited is he to have you as part of the team?
Oh, yes. I have met the Honorable Finance Minister. I've met the Minister of State for Finance, Honorable Charles Eduboahene. I've met Abna. You remember Abna too was our colleague in Legon in the same economics class. So I've known Abna for a very long time. We were actually in the same study group in Legon. So
oh, really?
It's not difficult at all.
Wow. Thank you. Congratulations. So I'm sure Professor Banyako is proud that two of his students...
Yes, let me take the opportunity to thank Professor Banyako, Professor Babuatin, and all the other Gokel, all the professors in the economics department who prepared us for today. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, John Kuma. This is the point of view. We're trying to tease out some of the people. We have Fatih still on the line. We have Ochrebefi as well joining us. My two colleagues are in-house. They would also release some information about which big names lost out, and they've actually grouped the people into three. Those who lost their seats, and there are also some very interesting permutations. This is the point of view. It's part 2 of the reveal of Nana Addo's deputy ministers. Stay with us.
Good Day Energy Drink keeps you going. Available in major supermarkets and shops near you. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to your health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
It is another beautiful day in the lovely city of Accra. And just as expected, everyone is up to something. Busy day as usual.
Papa, so Kuma has also left us.
Oh, others are getting ready for school.
Guys, we are late. Hurry up. We're coming.
And in the busy streets of Accra, the mates are calling out to passengers. Whatever you have planned for today, don't leave home without your nose mask. Wearing a mask at all times will protect you from the coronavirus. And even after vaccination, continue to wear a mask and follow all existing protocols. Ghana needs you. Let's do the right thing. Wear your mask.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Information, the Ghana Health Service, and our donor partners.
Welcome back to The Point of View. Tonight is part 2 of our reveal of Nana Addo's deputy ministerial nominees, 39 in all. 5 of them outside Parliament, the rest are members of Parliament. 10 women, the rest are men. And then very interesting permutations there. I just spoke to John Kuma and Hassan Tampulu. I still have Fatih Abubakar on the line. I also have William Ochebefi. No, is it William? Michael Ochebefi, forgive me. He took part in one of the most competitive primaries for the MPP. He ousted the former chairman of the Finance Committee, Esibe Yeboah, who was an economist. Ochebefi used to run the Free Zones Board, an important organization. Honorable Ochebefi, good evening and welcome to The Point of View.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Congratulations are in order, right?
Yes, from you and Mr. Rafitami, Umaru Sanda.
Okay, those are the people you know. You don't know Duke. Duke is also here. Duke covered your primaries and he was tipping.
Okay, Duke.
He was tipping.
My apologies, sir.
Yeah, when Duke tipped Esibe Yeboah to win. So when you won, he was very shocked. So
Yeah, I remember I heard that. Yes,
I want you to greet him for me. He was very shocked when you won. Good. So from Free Zones Board to Deputy Trade, it looks like it's the same sector for you. So there's nothing new there. Is that how we should see this?
No, thanks for the opportunity to come to honor your name today. But see, that has been the mindset of a lot of people. They think that working at the Free Zones Board as a CEO automatically gives you knowledge about everything of trade in this country. But I don't think that's the case. It's also a new experience for me because I'm venturing into a new area altogether now as the Deputy Minister for the Home Ministry, which clearly shows that I'm not only going to work with free zones and special economic zones and industrial parks, but I'm also going to look at other things in terms of trade and other things that are related to trade in this country. So I will not say it is just the same work. I will not say there's nothing new to learn, but it's also an opportunity. And by this, I want to say a big thank you to the President for giving me such a huge opportunity to serve in this government as the Deputy Minister to support and help the Honorable Minister for Trade and Industry, Honorable Alam Kudo.
We understand the President met you collectively and also individually. Are you able to tell us what he told you when he announced your nomination to you?
I think he told me that he complimented my effort at the Free Zones and told me how well I did, and so he wanted to promote me to the position of a Deputy Minister to support and help the Honorable Minister for Trade and Industry. That's what he told me. So it's an opportunity. It was a very good privilege. I mean, something that I was not expecting, because going into Parliament or looking at the minds in Parliament, I'm talking about those who have been in the system for a very long time. Most of them have very good set skills and qualifications, which is more than what I have. But the President decided to choose me to one of the deputy ministers for the ministry. So that's what he said.
How are the people of New Joabeng reacting to your nomination? You appear quite popular there.
For me, politics is just about service, and I guess that is what I've been doing over the years from 2004 when I actively took part in the politics of media being South. So I've been doing all this, and they were happy to hear this privilege given to me by the president. And they're happy. They're celebration all through in town. I mean, and they came to my house to also to wish me well. And that is what we can say. We can only say to the president a big thank you that he has done well by also giving us the opportunity to serve in his government and also contribute our quota to the development of industrialization or industrializing Ghana. To also complement the Ghana beyond aid we are all fighting to achieve.
Thank you very much, Honorable Michael Ochebefi. Congratulations one more time. We wish you well.
My pleasure.
So that was the MP for New Job in North, Michael Ochebefi, former Free Zones Board chair as well. Let's talk to Fatih Abubakari. Some describe her as one of the rising stars in the MPP. Sami, you said she came through first as a staffer.
No, as an aide.
Aide to the
in
candidate.
2015, when then for the 2016 election in Sunyani.
Wow.
That was when he announced Fatih and 3 others as campaign aide, basically to help.
Was she a lawyer at the time?
No, she wasn't.
Wow. Fatih, good evening again. We initially struggled with your line. Let's just hope it's clearer now. Good evening, Fatih.
Good evening, Bernard. And sorry, my internet connection this evening is not the best, but I'll try to make good with it.
I hope you know you are going to information and you can't be having bad internet.
It's not allowed. It's not allowed.
Because as information...
Maybe I have to change service providers, but I'll work on it.
Anyway, so congratulations. Your story seems fascinating. We understand you used to teach in a school and that you were an educationist before you became a lawyer. Is that correct?
In fact, after I left University of Ghana, I took a few administrative assignments. But beyond that, I was teaching part-time at Glorisco Remedial School. I was teaching government and Christian religious studies. So I was a teacher until 2014. And I worked in the hospitality industry and also in the engineering sector. But not as an engineer, I was just an administrative staff. So I've been very excited about teaching. And given the opportunity, I know eventually I'll end up in the classroom.
You were, during the election petition, you were quite eloquent in translating the discussions about constitutions and pink sheets into tree. Is that also something you were teaching? Because there's even a viral video of you translating some very complicated legalese into tree. Tell me about that.
I have lived, I think my entire childhood was spent in Kumasi. Okay. I was born at Moshizongo in Kumasi, within the then Menchia constituency, now Menchia North constituency. And for vacations, I spent it at the village with my grandparents, either at Offenso or Seshi Bonsunkwanta.
Wow.
Over the years, I've been within years. So although I speak my mother tongue, which is Kusal, because I am from the Garu constituency language.
Okay, so you are from Garu, but you grew up in Ashanti region as well. What do you hope to add to information ministry? And I notice you are the only one named because usually there are 2 deputies. So it means you are going to be working with Kojo. So there's only 2 of you. What do you hope to add to that ministry?
The youthfulness. I think it's very exciting to know that you are going to work with someone who has a wealth of experience professionally and in terms of practice, because Honorable Kojo has been at the ministry, has already served as a deputy minister and then the substantive minister. And you know, he is from your stock, a very experienced media person. So I can only tap into that experience and follow his lead. But most importantly, to bring some youthfulness and also to be accessible to the media and public. the public because, as you said, there is so much excitement on social media. And it is because I'm one of the people you can properly describe as a party foot soldier. I belong to that stock, having worked at the party headquarters as a secretary from TESCON and having worked at DI and always been part of the national communications team, at least in the past 10 years. So I believe that experience, I believe the youthfulness and the fact that the president has seen the need to add a female to represent women's voices in the political landscape. I think that's something very important to me, and I would always have that at the back of my mind.
As you rightly said, you are one of only 10 women deputy ministers and one of only 5 non-MPs. I'm sure that puts more pressure on you to perform.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But thankfully, even under this regime, we've had some other people who have worked at the ministry as deputies and a minister. So I will take a lot of notes from my predecessors, irrespective of the regime, but especially from the previous administration in the past 4 years, and make sure at least I will follow their footprints and also try to better myself at the ministry. So my role, given the opportunity, is just a complementary role, and I'll take notes from the minister and make sure I deliver to expectation, hopefully.
And obviously, your legal education will come in handy. The complexities of communication and knowing all the legalese would be quite useful, I'm sure.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
So apart from getting better internet, you probably have to get a new charger for your phone because the radio stations will start calling you quite a lot. So I can only wish you well as you begin your hostilities post-vetting. Obviously, vetting is going to start as well. So good luck to you, Fatih, and I'm sure we'll talk again to you soon.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful, and good night.
Fantastic. So that was Fatih. Amazing. So for those who to the WIC campaign, because you covered the president at least since 2008, you know somebody within MPP will be surprised.
No.
Although those who are like ordinary people are like, who is she?
As they say, she has paid her dues.
She has paid her dues.
To be where she is today. As she said, from TESCON, worked at the party headquarters, became a campaign aide, deputy director, and now minister. She's passed through the ranks, and no one will challenge this particular decision.
Let's go through the list and see who else we don't know. When the last time you came, we didn't know deputy defense.
Yeah.
We didn't know deputy interior. We didn't know deputy foreign affairs. Do we know who they are now? Can you show me their pictures? Can you tell me more about them?
Okay. Yeah. So
deputy defense, who's there?
Okay, so for deputy defense, we have Kofi Amankwa Menu. He formerly worked with national security, ascended from the office of the president. He was in charge or head of the impact assessment at the office of the president.
Is he a member of parliament?
Yes, he's a member of parliament.
How many Achuma constituencies do we have?
Oh, they are quite
Achuma,
Achuma.
So Achuma Ngabieja is the deputy. Then Achuma
But even Achuma there is north and south.
Okay, then Achuma Mponya is the Esiama. So this guy is Achuma Kwahoma.
Yes, he took out Dr. Piakubi.
So he's the deputy defense designate. We're going to work with Nitiwo.
Yes.
What about interior?
Interior, Nana. She happens to be the member of parliament for the Gomwa Central constituency. She used to be deputy minister for lands.
Okay.
When Amewu was the minister.
Nana Kwanza, Gomwa Central. She a lawyer or was she?
No, Nana comes from a business and a hospitality background. Greenland Hotel.
Greenland Hotel. Family, Okay. Yeah. So she is the interior.
Yes.
Going to work
from
with
lands and natural resources to interior.
Who's she going to work with there?
Interior, that is Ambrose Derry.
So there's only one deputy.
Yes, only one deputy. So interior has always been like that. It used to be Henry Cote. And then
only one.
At a point, Brian also.
What about foreign affairs?
Foreign affairs, two. So
two deputies.
Two deputies. There is Kweku Amprechum Sapon. That's member of parliament for Mampong.
Kweku Amprechum Sapon.
Yes, member of parliament for Mampong. He was former deputy head of mission to India. So he was deputy to Professor Michael Kwe.
Oh, India?
Yes, and he's a chartered housing practitioner. Worked
and he's an MP?
Yes, MP for Mampong. For a very long time, worked in the housing sector in the UK. And he was one of the founding members of MPP UK.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So he's
not a small boy.
He took out Adenimo. And this appointment, we are told is, well, I can say that because that's my constituency, that consistently they've been making calls that since R.R. Ampong signed the Second Republic, there's nobody from Mampong who's ever been appointed as a deputy minister or minister.
Seriously?
Yes, since R.R. Ampong signed the Second Republic. And Mampong consistently votes NPP. So probably
Mampong,
yes.
Which is like Mampong is the second.
Yes, second to that sentence.
Serious?
Yes.
So Kweku Ampretum Sapong.
Yeah.
MP for Mampong. Then who's the other deputy?
Thomas Mbomba. That's MP for Tatali Sanguli.
Tatali, this is Northern Region.
Yes, this is Northern Region.
Who is he?
One of the he used to work with the Ghana Post and then he became DC for the constituency. For the district, and then he won in Kim's Parliament. It's not a place you would consider one that's comfortably for the MPP or a seat for the MPP. So probably according to Sammy's theory, one of the rewards appointments.
He won a difficult constituency. So we have Thomas Mbomba.
Yes.
There are a few other ministries I want us to walk through when we come back. This is the point of view. Let's know what you think of this list. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Good Day Energy Drink keeps you going. Available in major supermarkets and shops near you. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to your health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
Because you pay attention. Because you know more than one angle. And see more than one opportunity. We bring you Build a Bet. Multiple legs as a single bet on one game. Raising the odds and elevating your experience.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below 18 years.
Welcome back. This is a point of view. We're trying to still assess the list of deputy ministers. Quick correction. Eric Tiayebua, the deputy attorney general, was born in 1975. So he's not a small boy. He is at least 46 years old. Also, Charles Edubuahin, last week we said he was from Ashanti region. We need to explain. His father, Albert Edubuahin, was originally from Asante Mampong, but lived in Osiem in the eastern region. So when I asked Charles Edubuahin where he's from, he says he's from Ghana. Because his mother is also from Jamestown. So it's very confusing. His mother is from Jamestown and Gans are patrilineal. His father is from Asante Mampong and Asantes are matrilineal. So he just is from Ghana. Let's wrap through the ministries quickly. You didn't mention communication the last time. You couldn't predict communication. Who's the deputy there?
Her name is
Who is she?
From ICT background.
Yes.
Amapo Mabuati, MP for where?
MP for Joabing. So
this is the Ashanti Joabing.
Joabing.
Amapo Mabuati to work with Esla.
Yeah, she worked with Esla.
She's an IT person.
Yeah.
You also didn't mention Agric the last time you came.
Yes, Agric. So there are two people there. Unveiling Nana Addo, MP for Mansour Dubia. Quite vocal on Galamsey issues. He was chairman of the Environment, Science and Technology Committee. He took over the chairmanship of that committee.
Unveiling Nana Addo.
Yeah, from the late Ejako. He was at a point in time also chairman of the very powerful Government Assurance Committee. Yeah, so that's him. And then the other gentleman, that's Mohammed Hadi Tuferu, MP for Nanton. He took out Mutala from Parliament.
Oh, wow.
Before he ran to the Tamale.
So it's hard work he's gotten.
And he's a chartered accountant, deputy ranking member on the Public Accounts Committee, former lecturer at Tamale Technical University.
So both of them are going to support
Dr.
Did you confirm tourism? deputy tourism when you came there?
No, the last time we didn't because we had 3 names coming up as possible candidates for the deputy minister. And today when the list came, we realized it was Marco Kreku Mante. Mark is already serving as the chairman of the Creative Arts Council since his inception in 2000.
Has he been an MPP member or?
He has always been, but he doesn't show his face. He's always been the background.
Did he campaign for Nana Akufo-Addo?
Yeah, he was part of the creative art people who were
there are always these artists and actors, and he's always.
So Marco Kreku Mante is the deputy for.
Yes, he's the deputy.
He's going to work with Awal.
Mohamed Awal. And people are excited about his appointment because Mark is an industry person. Awal is coming from a business background. So a lot of people feel that getting a deputy minister like Mark, who is an industry person, will go a long way to help those in the industry.
Did we confirm gender deputy the last time?
The last time we did. We happened to be Zoe Abdul. She is the former deputy CEO for...
And she's MP for where?
Wale.
Is this the Baumia
Baumia's cousin, yeah.
What about health?
And then the health. It was only about Tina Mensah we spoke about the last time. She gets to retain her position as deputy health minister. Then Okobo has been replaced by Muhammad Said Sani. He happens to be a member of parliament for the Daboya constituency. He has a background of finance. He's a former GRA boss. GRA officer.
GRA. And his boss is also an accountant.
Yes. So I'm sure they are.
Then the president is really looking for money.
Money for the health insurance.
In the health ministry. Did we know railway deputy?
No, we didn't discuss the last time. So
who's the deputy?
Kweku Asante Boati.
Who is that?
For Asante Achim North.
A lot of Asante people in the thing.
North, and
have you done a regional breakdown of the deputies?
Not.
We haven't.
But I look, a lot of them are from the north and Ashanti.
Yeah. The last time I told you, there's always a regional balance when it comes to the appointment.
But how is this regional?
It is.
At least there must be one from every region.
So is there anybody from Western North? I don't see anybody from Western North there. Do you see anybody? Maybe it's at the face of the pink sheet. And there are also 2 ministries not there. There's no environment, and there's no chieftaincy deputy.
Yes, that's true.
Well, we need to get explanation from the presidency. Is it deliberate or maybe they forgot to...
When you sent you the list, why didn't you ask him whether he...
I sent him a message on that, but...
He hasn't responded.
Or it's probably been described like the deputy minister, regional ministers.
Well, if it's going to be, I'm sure there will be an official...
This missed out. Or who was expecting to be deputy minister who was shocked that they were not?
Well, from the list, not because if you know, it's reported the president said that all ministers who lost their positions in the previous election will not be given any appointment.
They are MPs,
MPs, who lost their seats. And he has stuck to that. When you look at the list of ministers and deputies, any returning in there. So for instance, titles Glover Tetemais,
he's gone.
You can't find him. You can't find Okoboy. Even though many people have said that Okoboy was likely to return to the health ministry again, but unfortunately that wasn't done. Anthony Kabo, former Rose Minister, Laura, you can't find him. Kweku Kwate is now the chairman of the finance committee.
But he won his seat.
So
there are those who have taken on new roles in parliament. Somebody like Brian Echampon, he's now chairman of the foreign affairs committee. Patrick Boama is not there as deputy minister for sanitation. He's now vice chairman of the finance committee. There is Kennedy Osenya, who used to be deputy minister for agric. He's now chairman of the roads and transport committee. So there is Carlos. Well, Carlos resigned, but Carlos is now chairman of the trade and industry committee in parliament. So a
lot of these guys have been sent to parliament. Is it to strengthen parliament?
It could be a strategy to strengthen parliament, but some of them too.
Or they were just kicked out.
Couldn't make they couldn't meet
because also lawyer Aban.
Yes.
Deputy communications.
He's out of parliament. He's out of
George Anda, out of parliament.
Out of government.
Obama,
yes,
out of parliament, out of cabinet area.
Out of government.
But then the information we also picking is that
why is Pius Hajide?
Pius is no more in government, but then what we are hearing that he may be given a CEO position. So quite a number of these people who couldn't come back to parliament may be sent to the various government agencies as CEOs or deputy CEOs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's a parliamentary strengthening strategy.
Yes, sir. Because for someone like Kweku Kwate, for instance, I know the kind of lobbying and work that went into him becoming, because we are told that he did not want to leave the finance ministry. But they needed, for a committee like finance committee with the ousting of
Adongo finish them.
You needed someone.
Adongo is trotting away. So Kweku Kwate is chairing the finance committee. And who is his deputy?
His deputy is Patrick Boama. who has also a lot of already.
And the ranking member is Adongo.
No, ranking member is Atuforsen, deputized by Adongo. So that's a deadly committee.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 39 names. Yeah. When will Parliament vet them?
Well, the list it can in the next 2 weeks. We're expecting the next 2 weeks, just before Parliament comes back, because the memorandum has to be issued. The memorandum has to be issued, published for inviting. They can do an abridged one and say, well, let's do that in 3 days or 4 days instead of the usual 14 days or 2 weeks, to invite letters, petitions, if you have any issues with the people who have been appointed. Once that has been done and is ended, the committee will start working, because they were given that express permission before Parliament went on recess. There was an application which was made by the committee and it was approved generally by the House that even though Parliament will not be sitting, once the list comes, the Speaker can issue the directives and the work can begin. So that when they come back, they just do the approval.
So interesting times ahead. Thank you, Sami. Please find out from the President where the Environment and Chieftaincy deputies are.
I'll do that.
And then let's know when the Speaker decides to do the vetting so we can communicate to the public. Parliamentary correspondent, Sami Yafe is our Jubilee House or presidential correspondent. My name is Bernard Abele. We hope you enjoy the show. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be with you next time. The Business Dashboard is next. Stay with us.
Point of View is sponsored by First National Bank. First National Bank. How can we help you?